Welcome back to the Rich Method. We are on day 11, and I so appreciate you being with me on this series. We have covered the gamut, and it's been a wide variety of things. This is essentially how I got 1,000 people to move toward me in the last 9 months. And today's topic doesn't really have anything to do with business, but it's a great thing for business owners to keep in mind. So, I'm going to talk about how we're perceived online, how it impacts us. And I actually want to start with a story about offline businesses, local businesses, brick and mortar businesses, the ones who have, a front door and hours and they flip the sign and people come in and go out. The more traditional type of businesses, because brick and mortar businesses, they often have a lot of lessons for us, especially after we've been online for a while. I've been online for going on like 11, 12 years. And so it's easy to forget the basics of business in the online world because it's a very wild and crazy world. So on Saturday, well, actually, truthfully, Friday night, Facebook has me in the algorithm, right? I'm getting all the local stuff of where we've recently moved. And so this reel pops up and it's like Peachy's Donuts, like hands down the best donuts I've ever had. This person making the reel, they were just singing their praises. So I did a little research, and Saturday morning, they open at 7 a.m. and they don't really have hours except for the opening time because they close whenever they sell out. And they sell out every day. So I thought, oh, okay. So I'm reading their story, and they started off at fairs, at state fairs, county fairs. And then I think somebody said, hey, ladies, you just need to get a brick and mortar. You just got to do this for real. So now they have 2 locations and 3 food trucks. And the food trucks, you look on their social media, they'll tell you where they're going to be parked. So Saturday morning, I said, you know what? The boys, they're going to get to experience Peachy's Donuts. We've got some donut lovers in this house, if you know what I'm saying. And we've made donuts homemade. Donuts are hard to nail, right? I would say they were good, but they weren't the best. Just being truthful on that one. So Derek doesn't feel like, having well, he felt like a slow morning, we'll call it that. And Brett was still in bed. And Sam, of course, is bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, since like 5 a.m. And so I said, should we just get in the truck and go and leave them to their thing and then we'll come back? Because these people are going to sell out, right? So the story is it's this group of Amish women who started this business. So we initially think that we're going to hit a food truck because I think it's closer to where we live, but turns out it's not closer. So we figure this out midway, like, hey, we can actually go to one of their real locations. And we walk in and it's beautiful. The interior is amazing. It's white. Everything is white and clean and beautiful, beautiful tiles. And right from the get-go, you can see them working. So they didn't put their actual working the dough in the back. Everything is out to sea. So on the left, it's got this glass, but you can see 5 different Amish women working. One's making pretzels, one's making donuts, one's, deep frying, one's doing the glaze, another one's putting them in shelving, another one's the one who takes your order. Like they have a system. Okay, these ladies know what they're doing. And so we're waiting in line. There is a long line. And so I asked the girl who's making the donuts, how many donuts are you going to make today? How many donuts do you usually make in a day? And she said 1,300. We make about 1,300 donuts every day, and they usually sell out within a couple of hours. And simple menu. You can get the glazed. They might have a couple special flavors. We got lucky on a Saturday. They had 3 flavors. So you have 4 flavors to choose from. You can get a box of 6, or you can get one, or you can get as many boxes of 6 as you want. They have pretzels, and with the pretzel, it has cheese, it has mustard, and you can get a coffee. They have a small coffee menu. They don't have teas. They don't have matcha lattes. They don't have chai. They don't have none of that. It's just you can get this number of coffees. So everything is moving very efficiently. I mean, these ladies, work in the dough. It's like, they've obviously done this a million times. These ladies found something that they were good at. They did it a million times. They got feedback from the market, like These are good. These are literally the best donuts and pretzels we've ever had. Why don't you guys open a shop? So they open a shop and they just do the thing every single day, every single morning. Lisa's in charge of the pretzels. Sally's in charge of the donuts. Everyone's got their job. These ladies, they do the thing they do extremely well. Their social media is on point. They're clear communicators. On Saturday, April, whatever it was, this is where we'll be. These are our flavors, yada, yada, right? Every single thing was clear, simple, on point, done to the best of their ability. Now, if I took these ladies aside and I asked them, do you feel like you are making a difference in the world? Do you feel like you're having an impact? Do you feel like you're leaving a legacy? Do you feel like you're making the world a better place? They probably would be like, I don't know. I'm just making donuts. I'm just doing my thing. Yeah. They're not too caught up in what a lot of people online get caught up in. They're just do the thing that they're good at. They do it every single day. I can guarantee you the level of discipline, right? What time did these ladies get up? They got up early. I can tell you that. They're there. They do their thing. They communicate what they have. They just take you through this process. In the online space, it's really easy to get caught up in things and be like, oh, well, this is the thing I'm really good at, but I'm going to look around. I don't know if this is important enough. I don't know if it's big enough. I don't know if it's like change the world, right? I don't know if it's like earth shattering. Am I going to leave a legacy? Like we get caught up in things that don't actually matter, to tell you the truth. And because of this, we don't do the thing that we do that well or that consistently. We're not that dedicated or disciplined around it because we're so caught up in all these other things that at the end of the day don't matter. Because here's the thing those Amish ladies know that most people online don't know is if you just do you and you do it to the best of your ability, you'll become known for what you do. These ladies are Sarasota famous. I mean, even there's reviews, people are like, we're on vacation and we've read about the Amish ladies. We're not even going to Sarasota. We're on our way somewhere else, but we're gonna make a stop in Sarasota because we heard like they're the best at what they do. But they didn't set out to do that. Like they didn't have that plan. Now, the interesting thing about this experience is that they completely made the boys' day. Yeah. And I don't know if any of you have heard the song, who's this guy? Boys, what's that guy's name? The singer, Strange Al, is that his name? Weird Al, thank you. So yeah, Weird Al Yankovic, I think is his name. And he's done a funny spinoff of Gangster's Paradise, and it's called Amish Paradise. I don't know if you've ever heard this, and now you're gonna have to go Google it if you haven't heard this song. And so he's talking about the Amish paradise, churning lots of butter, all this stuff. So we have lots of conversations about the Amish because of this song. And so, getting donuts made by the Amish women. And so we come home and Derek's like, so tell us what it's like, and he's like, so they're obviously using electricity and, did they just take cash? I said, no, this is modern Amish, Derek. They have electricity. They've got credit card machines. They're taking people's money, right? They're selling 1,300 donuts this morning. And Sam, he's maybe, I don't know, halfway through this donut, brown butter cinnamon donut. And he's just in food bliss. His eyes are barely open. And he's like, oh, this is Amish paradise. Oh, yeah. And then Grant says, are they open every day? And I said, no, they're closed on Sunday and Monday. They need a break too. He goes, yeah, but Mom, on Sunday and Monday, they're not taking the day off. They're churning lots of butter. And I was like, well, that's true. That's true. So these Amish women who just do what they do, they made our day. They gave us lots of laughs. And with some donut snobs, they landed at number one. Because in this family, we have something, but then we rank it toward everything that we've ever had anywhere in the world. I've got my own list, Huevos Rancheros. I have an ongoing rating of huevos, the best huevos rancheros ever. They've got ratings for donuts. So, really, what these Amish women did from start to finish, online, offline, in person, they created a pleasant experience for us, a memorable, pleasant experience that we all want to repeat. I'll drive to wherever they are. Sam and I are going to have fun. We're going to have laughs. We're going to ask them more questions when we're in line. We made friends with the guy behind us in line. Everyone in line is happy. So happy because they're getting a positive experience. And the reason they're back in line, the guy behind us, he was the opposite of a morning person, but he was in line at like 7:48 a.m. on a Saturday because he has a pleasant experience every time he walks in Peachy's Donuts door. Peachy's Donuts has figured out what a lot of people can't figure out online, and that's how to give people a pleasant experience. I have said, and I've made this the mantra of Network Like the Rich, leave people better than you found them, and they'll always be happy to see you. We're going to drill down on this today because do you have to clearly communicate who you are and what you offer, how people benefit, what they get? You have to be an insanely good communicator, and you have to communicate on repeat. And there's this element that if people don't have a pleasant experience with us, they're not coming back. They're not leaving better. They're not going to tell other people. They're not going to be repeat buyers. They're not going to be referrals. They're not going to be power partners, collab partners. They're not going to be any of that. So the thing we're going to talk about today is this aspect that doesn't really have anything to do with business, but it has everything to do with business because the people who have insanely successful businesses, they've figured this out. Now, I'm going to say from the get-go, I'm going to say some things in here that you might not like, that might be hard to hear. But if you're willing to hear them and if you're willing to pause and reflect and make adjustments, I know it will help you in your business. Because a lot of people mistake their platform on social media or being the face of their business as this is a time also for them to be social justice warriors or to be the spokesperson for different topics and different agendas. And for some people, they've decided to, be the regurgitator of the latest news. And for others, they're the political Pam, and for others, it's just like there's just so much going on in the world, you guys, right? There's so much going on in the world, Wanda's. And this is all over the online space. When we walked into Peachy's Donuts, the lady who was making pretzels didn't say, "Did you see the latest on the news?" Oh my goodness. It's just, oh, what kind of world are we living in? No, she didn't say that. Did she say, "Oh my gosh, we make the world's best donuts, but it's just really hard to sell them in the current political climate"? Did the lady at the cash register tell me about she was up all night with her son that was sick? No. None of them did any of that. And yet in the online space, business owners and entrepreneurs, they forget no one wants to hear it. Are there times when you pull back the curtain in your life? Are there times when you're vulnerable? Yes. And you've got to be really smart about how you do it. Because if your profile and your name and your face and your business become synonymous with, "Oh God, she won't get off it. She's on her soapbox again. She's drama. She's pulling me down every morning." If you become the profile that if people go, "If I see her first thing in the morning, I just can't. I just can't. I can't start my day with that." Then you know you're in trouble. Your heart could be in the right place. You could think that it's a good idea. You could think it's going to matter, that it'll make a difference. I'm just going to tell you right now, don't do it. When you're in business, if you decide to divide people, it won't go well for you. If you decide to highlight and focus on drama and negativity and conflict, it won't work out well for you. But if you decide to do this one thing in between you talking about what you do, if you can find a way to infuse your feed with feel-good stuff, specifically humor, people will always be wanting more. They'll always be wanting more. Now, the first thing that comes to people's minds, and I've had many clients say, well, Monique, I'm just not a comedian. Like, I don't need another skill set to learn. Like, I'm wearing a lot of hats. I can't be funny too, right? And I say, that's the thing. Think about comedians. What are they really? They are people who go through life just like you and I. Their life is not any more interesting, not any more easy. It's not any more funny. But comedians are people who pause and observe life on a different level. And this is often the problem with entrepreneurs, because most entrepreneurs, I've talked about it a few times in this series, they're crazy. They're fast movers. They're insanely hyper focused. It's like if you could take the most ADD child and make them hyper focused on an outcome and making money, that's basically what an entrepreneur is. And so entrepreneurs can often forget to observe people, to observe themselves, observe life, observe their own kids, observe just what's going on in a normal everyday life, not a special set of circumstances, but just everyday life, and then mine for the humor, for the absurdity, for the thing that's universal. It happened to them or they saw it, but if they talked about it, everyone would be like, oh yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. That's essentially what comedians do. So here's the thing. If we looked at your, I often do content audits. If we went through your content, how far down would we have to scroll before we found something that left us feeling unpleasant? Mm-hmm. I'm gonna say things I've literally never said publicly before, and this could be a good thing or it could be a bad thing, but I want to give you specific examples. So my last name is Alvarez. I'm half Mexican, and I do not associate with any businesses or any business owners or any causes or summits or projects or events that focus on Latinas, that focus on minorities, that focus on women of color, that focus on any of these things. I don't do it. Why? Because at the end of the day, it's divisive. It's divisive, number one. And number two, it says I have a chip on my shoulder and I actually believe that I can't make as much money or I can't do as well in this world because of my last name or because I'm half Mexican than someone who isn't. And I don't believe that. Any person who figures out and does the things I've talked about in this series will make a ton of money. It doesn't matter if their family had money, if their family had no money, if they're half Mexican, Korean, Polish, Jewish, German, Californian, Australian, it'll work. I don't participate in these things. I do not say things like it's hard for Latinas because of this or that. We have a lack of opportunities. We're not as educated. Our families are da da da. I don't go down that rabbit trail because that's not going to serve me. And guess what it's going to do? It's going to repel my most ideal dream clients. Are we ready for the realest thing that's probably ever come out of my mouth? As soon as I make myself in this position of I'm lower or I'm disadvantaged in some way, the thing I'm also saying is that white people are bad. Let me tell you something. I want white people as my customers and clients. I want people who are already wealthy, regardless of where in the world they come from or what their background is, to be part of my clients. And both of those groups of people will be completely turned off by this conversation. That's the thing no one will tell you to your face unless they really want you to succeed. I do not get involved in political rants. I don't care who's president. You can get rich this year. I don't care who in the world's at war. I don't care what was flashed on the CNN screen, Fox News, what's going on the what is it, BCC, BBC? I don't even know what it is. It is irrelevant to who you can choose to be today, who I can choose to be today, and what we can create. When I see people online going, there's just so much going on in the world, I go, oh, they have no idea they're in charge of their own life. There is no, this is what's going on in the world. There's only, this is what's going on in my world. There is no, everything is going to hell in a handbasket. No, it's just that whoever you're listening to, whoever I'm listening to, whoever's on repeat in our mind, they begin to shape our worldview and our perspective. And that is tricky. Don't put that into somebody else's hands. You shape your worldview. You shape what you see, know, and believe. Starve certain things out, highlight other things. How far would I have to scroll in your feed to find something that's unpleasant, that's divisive, that demonstrates and shows to me you have no clue how to create your own future, your own present moment? You have no idea how to take control of your own life and make it any way you want? How far do I have to scroll before you're bad mouthing someone, some group of people, and you're making them wrong and yourself right? How far do I have to go until I hear you talking about what just ticks you off and just sets your on fire? If people see this, they don't want more of it. Everyone's got their own fair share of nonsense and drama and conflict and in-laws and hoo-has and ha-has. They don't need yours. Period. End of story. Now, on the other hand, how far would I have to scroll before I read something that made me laugh, made me realize, like, oh my gosh, she's my kind of person, that made me feel at ease, more at ease in the world? Where it's the sort of thing where I'm like, you know what, when I wake up in the morning, I'm going to her feed first thing. I want to start my day with that. 24 ounces of water and Amy on my feed. That's what I'm having for breakfast. That's what we're looking for. Now, I'm going to tell you the truth. There are certain people who are super good at being pleasant and humorous and uplifting. And usually they are simultaneously bad at promoting themselves and being clear about what they do in their business. And this can be the problem. In fact, both ends of this spectrum are pretty bad at promoting themselves and their business. The people who are just constantly, right? We'll call them the worry warts. They forget that they're in business, not doing so well. And the happy uplifters helping us see the absurdity and the comedy and the, oh my goodness, I'm not the only one in life. They can also be bad. But if you can be on this side and you can pair in regularly promoting what you do, demonstrating that you're good at it, showing how you've done it and how you're doing it, it's a really dynamic combination. Now, this happened the other day, and so it's top of mind, but this happens regularly. Someone who I'm friends with on Facebook asked a question, who has the best Facebook group around? I want a very positive, happy, but also successful group of women. Who has one of the best Facebook groups? And I was tagged on this post. I've had a post where somebody asked, whose feed do you go to every morning? Because you just have to see what they have to say because it always points you in the right direction. I was tagged on that post. Who's always making you laugh online? I need funny people in my feed. I'm tagged on that post. This isn't accidental, it's intentional. And in fact, if you are feeling a certain way, if you're going through a particular challenging time, or you're particularly ticked off about something, what I encourage you to do is then hold the other end of the spectrum. Some of you know over the last 9 months, it wasn't necessarily all rainbows and unicorns in my world, but I actually remember the moment and the day I was like, for that reason, because I'm going through one of the most challenging times in my life, I'm going to make a decision, make a conscious decision to notice the funny, the light. My husband always says, Monique, you can laugh or you can cry. Might as well laugh. I started posting lighter, funnier things, telling stories that highlighted this. Over the weekend, I just pulled something out of real life. It's 100% true, right? You don't have to like write scripts that don't really exist. We went to the beach on Saturday, and I've always liked to travel light. Like when I had babies, I had two babies in diapers for a long time, and I was never the mom who had like everything. No, I would be like the mom who had like a little wristlet, and maybe there was an extra diaper in the truck and like whatever. I hated this idea of packing the entire house with me to go somewhere. Like that's not the kind of mom I was. It was like, we'll figure it out, right? But we're going to breakfast. We're going to a coffee shop. We're flying to Rome for Easter, but I'm not doing that crazy mom scene. That's not me. So I have this little bag. Take it to the beach every time. I had an apple. I had a dandelion. I don't know. Kale, celery, detox shot. I had 2 packets of organic gummy bears for the boys. I had a bag of almonds from Trader Joe's. I had a water bottle. That was basically it. Why I packed one apple with 4 people, I have no idea, but this is a little insight into how I operate. So this is in my bag. Put it over my shoulder. I'm not dragging a tent. I'm not dragging a cooler, a wagon. That's not me. So I'm sitting here eating, one of my little rosemary almonds, and I look over and I see a group of 30 Mexicans. They've got a tent. There's 4 women cooking. They've got generators. They've got carne asada, homemade tortillas, guacamole, rice, beans. I mean, they've got a spread. It's a 32-course meal. And I was like, oh my gosh, coming to the beach reminds me I'm only half Mexican because I don't do all that. I can't do all that. That's pulled from my actual life. And I just did like a 60-second reel. When we got home from the beach, I'm still in my swimming suit. Oh, and by the way, I wear a flannel to the beach because when I go swimming and I have wet hair and there's an ocean breeze, even if it's 84 degrees, I get cold, right? So when I'm just in my outfit doing my thing, finishing my little shot because I had to make it last, I tell the story. And the Armenians can relate, and the Mexicans can relate, and the people who are none of the above, but they've witnessed it, can go, oh my gosh, I've seen that. They're setting up for the weekend, like they're moving in, like you're gonna eat well. Okay. If you're with the Mexicans, you're gonna eat well, like for sure. I just pulled something from my life. It's this willingness to pull something from your life and be completely honest in your observations about it. Because this is the other thing that can happen is some of us, when we're trying not to be the people who are constantly complaining and moaning and groaning, we have this tendency to feel like, oh, we have to like smooth everything over. We have to gloss everything. Like there's a silver lining on everything, right? And it can be a little saccharine sweet. It can be a little, it can feel come off a little fake, a little forced. So I'm not asking you to do that. I'm asking you to be the sort of profile, to be the sort of person and business owner where people are like, I want more of that. Whatever that is, whatever your flavor is, they just want more of it. What does it look like? Whether you're showing up in person or you're showing up online, what does it look like, feel like, and sound like to be the kind of person where people are like, I want more of that? Here's the thing I want to be really clear on. You can get some people who are like, I want more of that. I want you to post more about what's making you mad about what's going on in the world. I want you to post more about what's going on in the industry that just is not right and it's out of integrity. You'll get some people like that, but I'm going to tell you something. Those people don't have any money. Those people aren't going anywhere. They're not on the 6 to a 9.9. They're not the Whole Foods client. Mm-mm. They're not going to refer you business. They're not going to promote you, and they're not going to help get you where you want to go. I guarantee it. So, can you pause long enough? Can you observe your own everyday life? I I had this practice for years. I don't necessarily have it like this, but I want to give it to you because it helped get me in the habit of doing this. So, last thing, the end of the day, I would I would have this pause and reflect time. And I would do it in my notes in my phone, sometimes on sticky notes, sometimes in a notepad. But I would think about the highlight of my day. Now, this didn't have to be a big highlight. I'm not talking like a big milestone moment. I'm just thinking about what was the sweetest moment of my day today. And I'd write it down. Sometimes it's a 2 sentence exchange with the lady at Walmart. Sometimes it's a moment I had with my kid or something funny they said or did, or Derek or a client. Oh man, I just had this great session with a client. Like she got it. She had an aha moment. She broke through, a dot connected. I would just write it down no matter what it was. This was the highlight of my day today. And then I would write an observation, something I was observing about myself or others. I would just write a list of different things, the highlight, the observation, something funny, something that happened in a call that maybe I want to zoom out on or maybe expand on. I actually want to teach further. I would just I would just write enough so that I could remember what I was talking about and then I could go from there. And I did this every single day. And so then when it was time for me to post on social media, typically I don't have a problem posting, right? Content is not hard for me. But if you're not in the habit and content is more challenging for you, then you could have this bank of stories and ideas and moments and highlights and observations and moments that you can pull from. So then when it comes time to create content, you can still have the timer set for 20 minutes to get in here, do your thing and get out, but you aren't staring at a blank screen. So there's so many different rituals you can have. Let me see here. I had something in my notes. So let me see how I can make this easier for you. So we want to make sure that we're not regularly doing the chaos, the drama. Nobody's like hoping you process the world for them or you regurgitate the news, right? Beyond what you offer and how they benefit and what they get when they pay you, really what they're looking for, even in between posts, is they're looking for someone who leaves them with a good feeling, who's always demonstrating leadership, who's creating some sort of relief for them, expanding them, making them laugh, making them feel good. Okay, so if you want to mine the gold, I can tell you, I've taught this whole thing on humor several times. I mean, I use this a lot when the kids were small. If you've got little kids, you've got babies and you're running a business, I mean, you have to find the humor because I didn't sleep for a few years and I'm a sleep person. So when you go from like sleeping 10 to 12 hours a day to sleeping like 2 hours a day with two babies, I was cuckoo, right? And so I would have to infuse my life and business with humor. If you're going through something challenging, if you're going through a great time, a great season of your life, doesn't matter what it is, mining it. Okay, so the observations, finding a specific time in your day you're going to have observations. This might be when you're driving somewhere. This might be when you're starting your day. It could be when you're ending your day, when you're having lunch. You can build it into just whatever, right? I used to do this actually when I would go get groceries. I specifically remember the boys were babies. I was in Tucson and I would drive to Trader Joe's to get groceries. And Tucson is a big small town. It's one stoplight to another. Tucson didn't want to grow, so they never built freeways. They grew anyway, so now they just have no freeways. So it just takes forever to get everywhere. And so when I was driving to get groceries, I would just reflect on my day. Okay, what's different stories I could pull? So choose a time when you're in that reflection mode, when you can notice your life, when you can slow down enough. Maybe it's, you know, maybe you go for a walk. Whenever you're going to find a place and you're going to find the thing that is funny. Yeah, if true. Walmart, going to Walmart, you never run out of stories. It's true. Yeah. And if you're like, oh my gosh, I have nothing, it might be that you need to leave the house more often. Just gonna throw that out there. So, you can look for what's funny. You can look for what's universal, you know? Look at what we all experience. And then it's like, are you willing to give a voice to it? Because we're all experiencing it, but this is the thing comedians are so good at. They talk about it, you know? Oh my gosh, I freaking love comedians. This is also something that you can do is you can actually put time in your weekend or your day off or whatever and watch comedians, listen to comedians. Some people, they actually just need more lightheartedness in their life. Like before you can infuse your feed and your world with it, you got to go take it from somebody else. Kevin Hart is my all-time favorite comedian. This dude cracks me up. And it's just simple things, right? He told this story of like how him and his wife, they went on this boat and they were out in the middle of the ocean. I can't remember where they were. And you know how wives get sometimes, they want to test their husband's love. And so she's like, if I go jump off this boat and like I get attacked by a fish, like a shark starts attacking me and like bites off my leg, are you going to come save me? Now, Kevin was real honest. He said, "Well, is there anyone else on the boat?" And she says, "No, it's just you and me." He goes, "No, you're on your own." Yeah. No, I'm not doing that. And then she, of course, gets mad, like, "What? You're gonna let me?" Da, da, da. And then he's like, "What? Like, what am I supposed to do with the shark? And do I want a wife with one leg? Like, I'm just telling you the truth." He's taking like an actual argument and converse, like this crazy hypothetical situation with his wife that she decides to bring up, and he just says it out loud. This is also why it's hard to be married to a comedian, because they just say everything out. So if you're too heavy, if you're too dense, you definitely can't mine your life for the humor. Watch some comedians, watch something funny. I mean, you could watch reels and laugh your head off. I do this on the weekend. You can ask my kids. I'm good. Like I'm in the algorithm, you know what I mean? They know what I like. On Saturday, I will sit on the couch and I'll watch like 50 funny reels. I'll laugh my butt off. I'll send all of them to Derek, and then I'll go on with my day. And my kids are just like, "Oh my gosh, mom, you're funny. You're just sitting on the couch laughing." I have to do this. And the more important you feel like your work is, or the heavier your work is, or the more you walk your clients through, the more lighter, the lighter and the more light and the more funny and the more buoyant you've got to be. this is also the thing that we forget. I mean, I tried to do this actually for the nervous system people. I don't know if you all saw this happen. This is an actual, actually happened. So I can't remember when this was, maybe a month or two ago. So half of my feed, they're trying to help women with their, who are in like perimenopause, and help them regulate their nervous system. And every single person who talks about perimenopause and nervous system regulation, like they're so serious and they're so heavy and they're so dense. And God, like it's like if they don't regulate all of our nervous systems, the world's going to end, right? And one of my clients, she added me to a nervous system regulation group, which was, in and of itself funny, because she was trolling me. And so I'm in this group of like over 100,000 people who are complaining about their life. I mean, like 100,000 people complaining about their life and how they just don't know how to get regulated. And I'm just like, how about you just go live your life? But anyway, so I'm watching and observing. And after I'd been in this group for, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks, I couldn't hold it in anymore. So I go on Facebook and I do a color block post, and I was like, there's this wackadoo group, right? The nervous system regulation, whoever. I tagged the group and I was like, my God, if people are talking about every day how they need to regulate themselves, like I don't know if we can be friends, because it's just like it just feels like we're making it too hard. Like human beings all of a sudden have forgot how to live, like we're so freaking dumb now. We don't even know how to function. And so many people, they saw the humor, they knew what I was referring to. But there were some people who were insanely offended, right? Oh my gosh, I do nervous system work and I can't believe you're talking bad about it. I'm not talking bad about it. I'm simply highlighting the absurdity of all of this, right? So these people are already out of whack and now they're concerned about how they're out of whack and how they can't regulate their system. And like, I don't know if y'all are helping them. And it led to some conversations of some people actually had aha moments of like, oh my gosh, if I'm going to help people who are out of whack, I can't be out of whack and constantly talking about how everything's out of whack. We got to infuse humor. We've got to be able to point it out. We've got to be able to talk about what's like happening for all of us. It's in plain sight, but nobody wants to say it. Nobody wants to name it. When we were heavily focused on publishing, let me just tell you something, like people who write their own book, like they're very unique and they're very rare. Lots of people want to do it. Almost no one does it. There's even a ton of people who their book is completed, it's sitting on their desktop and they won't publish it, right? Because then you've got the ex-husband and the parents and the son and the daughter and the cousin and the ex-boss. And there's just so many reasons why they won't let it go public. And what I learned with helping people write their story is like they will first like relive everything they write about, and then they will think about all the people that this could possibly hurt or offend or who might possibly sue them. And I mean, storytellers and authors go through quite an emotional journey to writing their book. And there was this one point when we had like 300 authors in collaboration books, and then we had like a dozen solo authors. And I told Derek, God bless it. This is feeling way too heavy and way too hard. So I'm going to lean really into light comedic content because I just can't. Like these people are going through, they're in the trenches, right? The other perk about using humor in your content is that people who have no sense of humor won't buy from you. It's a huge perk. I can't have clients who have no sense of humor, who you tell a joke and they're like, I don't get it. And I'm offended. Yeah, go live your life, Beck, right? I can't have clients that are easily offended, that have no sense of humor, that can't laugh at themselves. I don't want to work with anyone who can't laugh at themselves. I might as well offend them early on before they spend money with me because I don't want them in my world. So humor is a great way to filter people. It's a great way to filter people. If you've ever had nightmare clients, they probably all had one thing in common. They had no sense of humor. They couldn't laugh at themselves. That's what they often have in common. So how can you make your profile and your business and your presence online and off the one where people are like, oh my gosh, I want more of her in my life. I want more of him in my life. What does that look like? How can you infuse your personality, your unique perspective, your worldview, what's happening already every single day? How do you articulate this? How do you share it so people are like, oh my gosh, I can't get enough of her? That's what we're going for. Because we have to be able to say the solutions we provide and the opportunities and all those things. But in between our promotions, this is what leaves them hungry for more. This is what leaves them better than we found them. Is your profile pleasant to be around? How are people perceiving you? Go look at your content. Go have some conversations. Go decide when you're going to observe yourself, your life, your clients, your family, and think about how you can incorporate this into your content. It has nothing to do with business and it has everything to do with business. One of the best things that you can do is whatever it is that you do for a living, whatever it is that you help people with, tell a story about how you do it and when you do it well and when you don't do it well, when you fail, when it's on point, when you absolutely fall flat on your face. This is the cousin of humor right here, is the people who can talk about their own failure. The only people who are really successful, they fail publicly all the time. And the even better ones, they talk about this. This happened. The key is that you have to say it after it's had time to dry. So growing up, when something would happen and it was like, it was not funny in the moment, but then it was really funny after the moment, what we would say is it's not dry yet, or it's dry, so we can talk about it, right? The key with being able to talk about the moments when you are the like you're the butt of the joke, is to just make sure enough time has passed where it's dry and you have the perspective and you can see it. If you can talk about your own failures, like if you can be the one who shares this, you will be so wanted, so desired. People will be like, I want more. I want more. I want more. I want more. Are you willing to be that person? Most people, they can't use humor. They can't use humor. They can't tell stories about where they failed. They won't talk about the thing that they observed in their own life because they're too fragile for all that. They can't have other people knowing those things, because the thing that they're trying to present is this air and this act of perfection. And the more that we try to do that, the harder everything gets, because there is a gap in there. Whoever has the best veneer, but behind real life is happening, it creates a lot of pressure. This is also why people don't have, they can't sustain that, right? This is why you'll see people flash online. They're here, they're amazing, and then they're gone. You never see them again. Most people who are online right now won't be here in 3 years. Definitely not in 5, because they can't do what we talked about today. If you want longevity, if you want repeat clients, if you want referrals, and if you want to enjoy the ride a lot more, heck, do it for yourself. Do what I talked about today. Infuse the humor, observe your own life, and let go of the other thing. Because if every post is heavy and every post is changing the world, and if every post is about, oh my gosh, am I leaving a legacy? I remember the day, like, I was like, I never want to hear the word legacy again. I never want to be caught up in if I'm changing the world ever again. It was actually 4 years ago. Popped up in my memories the other day. And I was like, I'm just so over it. Like, I don't need to be carrying that shit on my shoulders. I don't need to be worried about that. I'm just going to live my best life today. I'm going to write a funny post. I'm going to tell you how you can work with me. I'm going to make dinner, hang out with my family, go for a walk. Hey, might go to Walmart, call it a day. I don't need to live like that. That heaviness and that pressure and that perfection and that nonsense, nah, I'm good. Leave your people wanting more. Be real. And being real doesn't mean taking them through the mud every day. Make them laugh. Make them cry. Make them cry happy tears. Let them see that it's okay to be human and to make mistakes and to flub it up and to still see, like, I'm fine. I can even laugh at myself. Be pleasant. This will make you stand out a lot more than you realize. A lot more than you realize. You will just be like that bright and shiny thing in their world. That's what this will do for you. I'll see you tomorrow as we wrap up the series. Thank you so much for being here with me.